Welcome to the show. I'm Lolo Ganaikin. So much happened in pop culture this week, so let's dive in, shall we? All right, up first, during the Miss America pageant earlier this week, Miss Texas Margiana Wood slammed Donald Trump after being asked a question by our very own Jess Cagle. Take a look.
I think that the white supremacist issue, it was very obvious that it was a terrorist attack. And I think that President Donald Trump should have made a statement earlier addressing the fact.
Now that's a solid answer for a pageant contestant. And it's definitely a step up from this one.
I believe that our education, such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere such as.
It was just announced that Patty Jenkins will direct Wonder Woman 2. She'll reportedly earn nearly $10 million for the gig, which makes her the highest paid female director in history. Now, $10 million is a lot of money, but it's also a fraction of what Steven Spielberg got paid to make this. Speaking of big franchises, J.J. Abrams has taken over Star Wars Episode 9 after initial director Colin Trevorrow left the project. And it's been rumored that Trevorrow was dismissed after his recent film, The Book of Henry, was slammed by critics. I mean, people hated that movie. In fact, we have a clip of someone watching it.
No! Yeah!
Is it fair to get taken off a Star Wars movie just because you made a bad movie previously? Remember, someone made 2 Star Wars movies after making this. All right, EWS fans to vote on which TV cast to put on the cover this week, and you all chose Riverdale. And here's your prize, a video. Check it out.
Time we had to talk.
When you get to a certain age, some things start to change. You might find yourself looking at relationships a little differently.
Like when Archie got hot. And we're here to tell you that that's all perfectly normal.
But if you're feeling confused, here are some tips for practicing safe shipping in Riverdale.
Rule number 1, don't rush yourself. Entering into a ship is a big decision.
You might think you ship Archie and Betty.
But mysterious yet lovable loners tend to shake some things up.
Or the hottest girl in school entices you with some maple syrup.
Rule number 2, always protect yourself.
When shipping, you are at your most vulnerable.
Even the slightest glance between characters can give you hope or break your heart.
Like when the best singer in school locks eyes with a hot jock.
Or kind of like when your childhood best friend tells you she loves you.
And then your childhood best friend says he just wants to be friends.
Rule number 3, ship carefully.
If you don't, it can cause symptoms, like Twitter rants or overuse of hashtags.
These are all forms of shipping too, dramatically.
Wink.
If you're not careful, you might find yourself wanting to lock yourself in a closet with a cute guy.
Or realizing that you're actually pretty attracted to redheads.
Obviously.
Or even find yourself falling for a Southside serpent.
Which brings us to rule number 4.
Listen to your heart.
There are many ships in the sea.
Maybe you're Team Bughead.
Or perhaps you're more into Barchi.
Or Varchi?
Or Jeggy.
What about Walkfin?
Now remember, there is no one right ship. Do whatever feels comfortable to you.
Wait, I'm sorry. Have we been talking about shipping this whole time?
Yes, we have. We'll be right back with more show. Welcome back. I'm here with the stars of the show, Vice Principals Danny McBride and Walton Goggins. Welcome, gentlemen.
Woohoo.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan. It's been called one of the most uncomfortable comedies on television. Is that the goal, Danny, to make people laugh and squirm?
I think it is the goal. I think it's finding that gentle spot where people feel like they want to turn the TV off, but for some reason they don't. That's what we're always trying to do, yeah.
And how do you go about achieving that? Because you can walk the fine line, obviously. It's a fine line to walk, but how do you go from making people laugh to being revolted, but again, not turning away?
I think that underneath all of this terrible behavior and all of the profanity and vile acts, there is a beating heart underneath this. And I think as long as people can still kind of faintly hear that heart beating, they stick around, yeah.
Now, Walton, for people who aren't familiar with the show, walk us through what we can expect from season 2.
Oh, wow. Well, it picks up where season 1 left off, which is this man right here gets shot. And it's about kind of hunting down who shot him. And it could be the person sitting in this chair or any number of other people kind of in the cast.
It's like a Dallas homage, right?
It totally is, yes.
Yeah. But I think, we both, Danny and I, kind of talk about it similarly but differently. I think season 1 is about who these guys are, and season 2 is about why they are who they are. And Danny talks about it as...
Yeah, that season 1 is crime, season 2 is punishment. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that this is going to be the last season. You're just getting started. Why end it so quickly?
It was part of the idea of setting this up. I think I'd been burned by too many TV shows that I invested in where like they started out great, and then with each season, stuff changed, cast members left, and then ultimately at the end of the day, you don't know if you really like saw the completed thing that the original creators had in mind for you, or if they adjusted based on not being able to cast actors or because people were too big to be in the show anymore. So we wanted to create a show that had finality to it, that had a beginning, middle, and end, and give people a complete story. So that was sort of the idea of writing all of it before we began to shoot and just know exactly where we're going.
Now, are you going to really retire? Is this going to be like a thing where you come out of retirement like Jay-Z, who retired like 15 times, and
we could.
Or is this done?
Yeah, we could. This story that we've told, this premise that we've set up about this fight for the principalhood, this is a completed tale. But I will say that I did enjoy working with Walton so much that who knows? Well, who knows what can happen? Maybe we'll do something else.
Yeah, maybe we will. Sometime, someplace.
If Walton had been a little bit more of a jerk on set, then I would be like, definitely, we're never doing any more. Because he's awesome. It's like, well, maybe I'll sell myself out and go back on all the stuff I said about not doing anymore.
Please do something else.
Speaking of jerks, Danny, the LA Times says that you, quote, have a special flair for playing obnoxious loudmouths. Why are you so drawn to these characters, and how do you two go about making these jerks so lovable?
Obnoxious loudmouths.
That's a compliment. That's a real compliment.
Great.
Well, I've been called worse, so that's good. That's good. I think it's because these characters, I write these characters as well, and I think it's just very boring to write like clean-cut characters. I think it's like more interesting to start with characters that are like complicated and figure out how you can convince people to like spend time with these misguided fools and see what they're all about.
And Walton, for you playing a misguided, lovable jerk fool, what's that been like for you?
I've made a great life from it. I've done that pretty much my whole career in one version or another. And I think that the antagonist more often than not has the best lines, right? That's what the saying is. But at the end of the day, what I look for is people that are complicated. And I think what Danny has done and what Jody Hill and David Gordon Green, the three people that make up Rough House Pictures, what they do as well as anyone is create these very, very, very challenging, very complicated characters that you love to hate to love. And in the midst of all of this chaos comes these well-deserved, sublime moments of emotion. And I think that's what a true auteur does. That's what a really skilled writer is capable of doing. That's what Quentin does. That's what a number of the people that I really kind of look up to do, and these guys do it as well as anyone.
And Quentin Tarantino.
Keep going, more?
Well, hey man, I mean, yeah. Let's just call him Q.
Q.
I'll just call him Q.
Danny, I want to talk to you about the body of work that you create. It has a very strong Southern identity. You're a proud Southerner. Given all that's going on in the headlines right now with, Charlottesville, the Confederate statues, et cetera, what do you make of these headlines?
It's discouraging, obviously. It's like, I was someone that, like, my mom was from Pennsylvania. My dad grew up in Florida. And, when I was real little, I lived in California. And then we moved to Virginia when I was in kindergarten. So I always kind of felt like when I was in the South that I didn't have I didn't have generations of like lineage in the South. And so a lot of the customs and cultures, it was new to me. And so I was sort of a spectator in it. And, the South has a very horrible history, and but I do think that there's also a lot of incredible people that are in the South, and so it's always a mixed bag. You don't want, I just always want everyone to get along and be one. So whenever you see troubles like this, it's discouraging to say the least.
And Walton, you're from the Atlanta area, so you too are a proud Southerner.
I think first and foremost, I'm a proud American, and but I do think that. my culture being from the South has informed me and gave me kind of a base in which to go out into the world and then continually add words to my definition. I was really kind of raised by a community of people that weren't gender specific or color specific. It was just this crazy kind of carnivalesque nature that you can find kind of in the South, these kind of like authentic voices. So yeah, it was a great place to come from.
Last season featured a crazy LSD trip. Any drug moments in this season that we can expect, Danny?
Yeah, there are some drug. There is drug use this season. We won't let the fans down. We'll give them what they want.
Is it shrooms? Is it shrooms?
You're gonna have to watch and see.
Yeah, you gotta watch to find out. You will want to be on this trip.
I want to be on this trip. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Vice Principals returns to HBO Sunday, September 17th at 10:30. Tune in. Welcome back. This week's EW is dedicated to fall TV. So we have TV expert and host of EW Morning Live and Binge-worthy, my favorite, Jessica Shaw. Jessica Shaw's in the house.
Lola!
Yay!
First of all, happy birthday.
Thank
That's
you.
like the real must-see programming.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And while you're here, we can talk about my birthday, but we also have to talk about the hottest shows on TV for the fall. You've got them all. Bring them to me, girl. Let's talk about Mindhunter first.
Well, Mindhunter is from David Fincher and Charlize Theron. Really excited about this. It's going to be on Netflix. We have to wait a little bit. This is not out immediately, but it is coming this fall, and it's about a group of FBI profilers. It's based on a book written by an FBI profiler, and they investigate these really terrible cases of serial murderers and rapists, but it's also about what investigating those cases does to these people when they close the case or even during the case. So it's definitely intense. Obviously, Fincher is like one of the great directors, and he is directing 3 of the episodes. Can't wait.
All right, Star Trek Discovery. Will this
so
show
excited.
live long and prosper?
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Oh my God, look, we're Vulcans. I'm so excited for the show. I'm a super Trek nerd, so I can't wait for this. It's been so long since we've had a Trek on the air, and now, I mean, I feel like the old Star Treks, you think about Picard, you think about Kirk, and it's all like a lot of dudes at the deck and everything. And now we've got Sonequa Martin Green from The Walking Dead, who's so amazing.
She's badass.
She's playing the first officer. It's not even like the protagonist of the show is the captain, though Michelle Yeoh is the captain of a ship. There's a lot of women. There's diversity in this new universe. There's a gay couple played by Wilson Cruz and Anthony Rapp. It's just a different Star Trek than what we've seen on air. It's going to be on CBS All Access. They're going to launch it on CBS, and then they're moving it to All Access, and everything is riding on this for All Access to succeed.
Who exactly is young Sheldon for? Big Bang fans?
That's right, Big Bang Theory, like just the hugest network sitcom, just really untouchable. So, I mean, they probably should have spun it off a couple years ago, a little late to the party, but Young Sheldon is about the character of Sheldon, played by Jim Parsons. He does the voiceover. He intros every segment. He does some, he just comes in and out of breaks and stuff. So it's reassuring to fans of Big Bang Theory because they're going to hear Sheldon sort of being your tour guide through Young Sheldon. But it's a prequel. It's about him when he was a young kid and his family. And if you watch Big Bang Theory, you know his relationship with his mother and his father and everything. Right. But even if you don't, I don't watch Big Bang Theory. I watched Young Sheldon. I liked it.
You liked Young Sheldon?
I liked it.
You're saying that on live TV.
I know.
All right.
Wait, are we on?
We are.
Oh.
We are on. We are on.
Ziggy, remember Big Little Lies?
Yes.
Ziggy, Shailene Woodley's, he's Young Sheldon.
I'm tuning in for him. That is the cutest little boy
I'm not going to lie, Lola.
Okay.
I shed a tear at the end of the pilot.
You did.
I'm not dead inside.
I'm feeling really alive right now. Thank you so much for being here, girl. Okay, earlier this week, The Bachelor and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire host Chris Harrison swung by to reflect on his time in TV, and you'll laugh so hard, you'll need to phone a friend. Take a look. I'm here with Chris Harrison, and we're going to do a little couch surfing.
Let's
you
do
ready?
it.
You ready?
Yes, I don't know what that means, so let's do it.
So
I'm
you're
all
on
in.
the couch, and we're going to surf.
Okay, I'll do anything twice. Let's do it.
Okay. You're dead wrong for that. Let's go.
And now, News 9 Sports with Chris Harrison.
You're a baby.
I was a baby. This
Look
is
at you.
right out of the womb.
Oh, my goodness.
This would have been mid-90s?
Oh,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
oh, it's 1997.
1997.
Thanks to the graphics there at KWTV in Oklahoma City. The hair is bad, but really, the guy's not bad. It's a pretty good sportscast.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma State football team is having a fantastic season. They're
You know what's
6-0,
funny?
ranked
I've
12th
watched
in the
this
country.
before, and the cadence is the same. Like, my style and delivery hasn't really changed much, which means I haven't evolved much as a host.
No, it means you were great out of the gate.
That's what it means,
Yeah,
yes.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
it means. So did you want to be the next Bob Costas? Was the dream to be a sportscaster?
More so than like a reality. I had no intentions whatsoever of going to Hollywood and trying to do anything. I actually wanted to move back home to Dallas and cover my Dallas Cowboys. I was in Oklahoma City at the time. I went to college in Oklahoma, started in Oklahoma City, and then kind of transitioned into sportscasting, loved it, and then wanted to move to Dallas, cover my Cowboys, and live happily ever after when I got an offer to move to LA, and that's where it all kind of took off. I had no, I was so green, honestly. I knew people were on TV. I didn't know you could have that job.
It's Mall Masters at Mall of America. And I'm your host, Chris Harrison.
Oh God, worst show ever.
What?
Look at I bet I had a sweater. Look at my sweater game. Sweet Mary.
Yeah.
How did I get younger from 1997 to that?
I don't know. Maybe it was all that mall food.
Right.
All those pretzels and Cinnabons got you looking
No, it was
young.
fried pike.
Fried pike.
Yes, you have pike there. Pike on a stick.
Pike on a
Yeah,
stick.
you got to get to. Oh, true story. Maybe we can pause it. Wait, can I actually rewind this? Okay, you see the little things above them, the circles?
Uh-huh.
Swear to you, those are salad bowls.
No.
Yeah, those are silver salad bowls that were hung on the wall. That's how janky this show was. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, wow, this show will be on for like a hot minute.
And now, let's welcome our last finalists, Gal Pals.
Okay.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch. How about me showing my acting chops as, wait
Yourself.
for it, a host? Was it Soleil Moon Fry, right?
No. Is that Soleil Moon Fry?
Yeah, my acting chops, not
Wait,
so good.
how did this cameo come to be? And you're right, that is Punky Brewster. Oh my goodness, Soleil Moon Fry. Wow.
Yeah, so back in the day, I used to do some, bit acting stuff because when I first moved out, I wasn't doing The Bachelor. I would go out to do CNN reporter #2, and I was in several movies and shows like this, and because I could read a script, I guess, and because I was a newscaster guy, so that's the parts I would get.
Here's how the show's gonna work. For months, we've searched the entire country for one of America's most eligible bachelors.
I love this young kid too.
He's a great guy.
2002, spring 2002. That's just day one of The Bachelor. The suit's a little loose.
The suit's a little loose.
I feel like I just stole my dad's suit. Okay, so we were down in Malibu.
Yes.
It was the opening of the show, and if you let this go, it started at the bottom of a pool. I walked around the pool, up the yard, up a couple flights of stairs, through the house. Look, now I'm out the front door. It's like, sweet Jesus, just get to the show.
It looks like you're giving a tour, like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
I'm now Robin Leach. You still have not met The Bachelor.
No, you haven't. But there's the limo.
You meet me and the driver. You meet the chauffeur before you meet The Bachelor. Okay, finally. And now we didn't even show the front of him. We showed the back. We still showed my face.
It's all about you.
We were not good at producing television back then.
I want to talk to you. I'm serious. That's not a joke. You, dude.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this is more recent.
Chad throws some major shade your way.
Yeah,
he
he
was
did.
not happy with you at
No.
all. What happened?
You know what's funny is that's the first time someone's told me to F off on the show. And I don't know how's it taking so long? The stuff I've done to people over 16 years, he's the first to tell me to F off.
How is this making it better?
How is what making what? Like, go drink your mimosas.
Here's to you, Chad.
Here's to you, Chad. Refreshing.
C, final answer.
I think she was just guessing. You got it. I don't know if she was lucky, or she didn't understand the game, she didn't realize the ramifications of missing a question. She just kept saying, I'll go for it, C. And I'm like, you realize you could lose a lot of money. We crossed the threshold of $95 million given away in syndication. Isn't that crazy? So it's pretty phenomenal that you give away that kind of life-changing money. And I'm not throwing shade on any other game shows, but a great game show, at the end of it, they're like, you have a chance to win $25,000 possibly if you get this last question right. We'll do that before a commercial break. What do you take from this experience? Whiz Kids, Josh Darrow.
A lot of kids think it's not terribly cool to be the nerd and, to study hard, but really it got me pretty far, I think.
What kid is this eloquent? So the new season obviously has premiered now, and we did 4 kids of Whiz Kids, 4 weeks of Whiz Kids. We did 2 this last night. I said we got to double that because these Whiz Kids are the best. So 4 weeks of Whiz Kids. We have a bunch of specialty weeks, but these are my favorite. These kids are just incredible. They're so smart, so brilliant, so put together. I don't think our country is half as bad as we think it is because these kids are growing up. Usually we say that that the generation below us is soft, and no, I think they're better than we are.
Chris, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for couch surfing with me.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't have some popcorn. Go ahead, try that.
I'm good. Thanks for taking me down Nausea Lane with all my old hairstyles.
Welcome back. The new movie, Rebel in the Rye, tells the story of J.D. Salinger and the writing of the landmark novel, The Catcher in the Rye. Here to raise high the roof beams are the film's writer and director, Danny Strong, J.D. himself, Nicholas Hoult, and EW book editor, Isabella Biedenharn. Ooh, you like that, right?
Nice.
Welcome, guys. All right, Danny, I've got to talk to you about this film. What made you decide that this would be the first film that you chose to direct? Because this marks your directorial debut.
It does.
It does.
It sounds scary when you say it like that.
No, I just want to know. I'm curious.
I read a biography on J.D. Salinger for fun, and I was so moved by the story of him writing Catcher in the Rye and going to World War II and coming out of it with PTSD that I just thought, I should write this. This should be a movie. And then I thought, well, it's about a writer. Maybe I should direct it too. And it just made sense to me that this should be the first film I direct because it was about a writer.
You've written a few things in your lifetime.
I've tried.
Some
efforts.
Recount, Game Change, Hunger Games, The Butler, Empire. I
need a nap.
You need
just hearing you say that.
You do need a nap. What was it like for you to transition into the director's chair?
Well, I'd been directing several episodes of Empire, so I kind of cut my teeth doing that, but I loved it. I've been an actor for 20 years, and it felt like a really natural progression, having that experience as a writer, and then, as an actor, and then as a writer, and it just was sort of combining that skill set and going into directing.
And Nicholas, how did you come to be a part of this project? What about it resonated with you? What about it spoke to you?
Well, I read the script and found I didn't know much about JD's life before reading it, but found him so uncompromising as an artist and so inspiring to read about and learn about that I was just blown away by his story and how dedicated he was to his craft. So then I just kind of hounded Danny after I read it and was like, I really want to make this film with you and play this character, and I feel like I'm the right person for it, and kept on meeting you and Skyping and stuff. And then Danny did some auditions here in New York, and I went along, flew in and did it, and then it worked out, and that was basically.
Did you know he was the one instantly?
After he auditioned, yeah. He was my top choice going into the audition.
Are you just saying that because he's here?
No, he was. It was one of those things where I was
no one
hoping.
else was available.
No one. But anyway, he was going into it. It was. I hope Nick's good in this part because I really thought he could be the guy. And then the audition was awesome, and I just thought that's the guy.
Isabella, what is it about JD, and in particular this book, that continues to resonate with people all these years later?
I think Holden Caulfield was like the original angsty teen, and teens still have that, and I think it's also fun to read a book in school that says goddamn a lot, and everyone, when you're a teenager, you think everyone's a phony, and that's Holden Caulfield's whole thing. And I think it's why it became huge in the first place, was it was like one of the first times that something spoke directly to like disgruntled youth, and was honest and like didn't have happy endings.
It's often interesting to watch how authors appear on the big screen. Can you talk to me about that?
I think honestly you have to be kind of weird to be able to be alone for years and like pump out a work of genius. So it's more rare when you see an author who's like really cool and collected and like can play the fame game and is fine. Like I'm surprised more people don't end up being reclusive like J.D. Salinger.
What research went into your preparation for this role?
Well, obviously all the standard things, reading about Salinger's life and taking up yoga and learning about the Vedanta Hindu religion and all those sorts of things.
Took up writing.
Took up writing. That's what I was going to say. Was one of Danny's ideas that was really interesting was he wanted me to write my own short stories, and just try and understand the writer's brain like that. So I'd walk around New York. I came a little bit before shooting, and then go home and sit there and bash away at the keys.
What'd you write about?
I would write just little short stories from things that I'd seen around town that I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it's an odd process because you kind of realize that you're kind of very much in your own insular world a lot of the time. So suddenly, when you're out observing things with that in mind, it makes you much more astute in your observations.
I'm curious, when did each of you first discover Catcher in the Rye? I read it in 8th grade. Isabella?
I think 10th grade.
10th grade.
I read it when I was like 15 or 16, yeah, but it's not part of the syllabus in English schools.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
14, freshman in high school.
And did it speak to you in a way back then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think just as Isabel said so beautifully, that it's the first time I think someone reads a book about an angsty teenager and see themselves reflected in literature or in art of any kind, and to see it reflected so deeply, I think it just has an effect of making you feel, oh, there are other people that feel this way. This is a collective feeling, and I think it makes people feel good about themselves.
Do you think being rejected by The New Yorker also shaped him in a way as well?
Oh, yeah, I think it all did, absolutely. I mean, I think that the war experience was a profound experience, but I think his struggle to get published in The New Yorker, and he was rejected not by The New Yorker, but by everybody, by all the publications of the times. And that was what first drew me to this, to write, because it just reminded me not only of myself, but of all my friends, of just all of us, of what we go through, and to see that, oh, and J.D. Salinger goes through that too. I mean, it was so interesting to me because you think of him as a recluse. You don't think of him as a 21-year-old ambitious young writer trying to make it in New York City.
I read that you wrote scripts for 6 years before you sold one.
Yeah, that's a long time, right?
It's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, around year 4, you're starting to get, wow, is this, and then year 5, it still hasn't happened, and year 6, and I had a moment where I was thinking, wow, I may not sell anything. And would I keep doing this even if I wouldn't sell anything? Would I just keep going? How long would I do this for? Would I do this for the rest of my life? That's the sort of key question of the film. And my answer was yeah. Yeah, I really love doing this. It's therapeutic. It's creative, and I'm just going to keep doing it. And there was something about asking myself that question and having that answer that freed me.
So, Isabella, who's the JD of today?
I was thinking about this. I think Elena Ferrante, she writes under a pseudonym, and she might have gotten unmasked last year, but people respect her privacy for the most part. So she has the same air of mystery where people really connect with her novels. She wrote these Neapolitan novels about growing up in 1950s Italy. And yeah, it's the same, people are hungry for information about her because she doesn't give you any. And she's brilliant.
Thanks so much for being here, everyone. You guys are the Franny to my Zoe. Rebel in the Rye in theaters everywhere now. Go see it, and we'll be right back. Lake Bell, star of the new film I Do Until I Don't, stopped by recently to talk wedding traditions, and she had us laughing down the aisle. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Lake Bell, and my movie, I Do Until I Don't, explores the institution of marriage in general, and couples, anyway, it's more complicated than that. But anyway, right now I'm gonna explore marriage ceremony traditions in a little segment called Know What You're Wedding, and that's a pun on know what you're getting, but it's clunky and they made me say it. Anyway, it's in the teleprompter. The point is, let's move on. Asking the parents' permission. Listen, I think it's great. I think it's classy. After all, marriage is, you know, kind of a classy institution, albeit archaic. Anyway, see the movie, you see I kind of get into all that nitty-gritty. But I think it is kind of a classy move. My husband did that before I even knew, and I thought it was very sort of sexy. Getting down on one knee for proposal. I think that is a little old-fashioned. I don't think one needs to be utilizing their knee, especially because people are getting older lately when they're like proposing and it's like, "Oy, you know, my knee, you might pull your back," the whole thing. So keep it healthy, stand on your 2 feet, look at the person directly in the eye and say, "Come on, let's do this." Then throw them over your shoulder and keep walking. That part seems a little aggressive, but I just think that people should be a little more on the front foot about things. Next up. Throwing rice at newlyweds. Guys, we need to nix the rice. White rice is not good for you. I would suggest like a quinoa or maybe like a kamut. Cocktail hour. Check, correct. Everybody needs a cocktail hour. How about hours? Okay, let's make that multiples. Bouquet toss. Look, again, another sort of old-fashioned tradition, but I'm for it. I think it's nice to see the whole group of people kind of gathering up and then you throw it and then, "Oh, guys, catch it." I think that we need to make sure that it's not just girls. I don't like the whole thing when it's just girls back there. I like to see the guys there too. Come on, modern times, dudes, bitches, all of them there. Next up, we got garter dance. I think of like cowboys and like brothels when it comes to garters, you know, and I'm just like, unless you're having like a cowboy brothel wedding, in which case, go for gold on the garter, but otherwise nix it. Best man maid of honor speeches. I like it. I told everyone at my wedding that they did not have to make speeches because I don't like giving people homework. I'm like, just come and get drunk and hang out. You know what I mean? I don't be like, "So did you do your homework and did you tell a speech about me and like how cool I am?" Like, I just think it's unfair. I'm like, just come, get drunk, hang out with me, and just put good juju and good vibes into the air. That's all your job is. Father-daughter dance, mother-son dance. I like that. Come on. It's sweet. After party, obviously. Normally you throw a party and it's like, oh, some people bail, they're kind of flaky, whatever. I had a thing, you know. But with weddings, usually they have to come, so just throw the dopest party ever. Breakfast party, you know, just all the parties. Just party it up. Next day brunch. You may now kiss the bride moment. That moment, I don't know, I think that one's kind of cheesy. There's something about like, you may now take advantage of this woman and let's just kiss. Kiss now, is what they should say. The real core of all of this is that you should see I Do Until I Don't. It's in theaters everywhere currently. You're gonna go in there and be like, this is sweet, this is really nice, and I kind of needed that little respite after all the craziness in the news. That's what that's gonna do for you.
Cheers to you, Lake. I wish you'd been at my wedding. Oh, well, that's our show. Thanks to all my guests. Don't forget to grab the fall TV preview issue of Entertainment Weekly on newsstands now and at EW.com. Bye.